Hello, who is here today? Who's joining me? I see Joan, first time. Great, Joan. Nice to have you here. Do you have a practice? Have you been practicing yoga? That's something I'd like to know. Lauren, hi. I don't see you here very often. I see you in live classes, but not very often here. So it's nice to have you. Hi, Beth. Carol, hello. First time for you. Beth, where do you live? Are you North Carolina or South Carolina? We are trying to find a REMS ultrasound for Carol in South Carolina. And I've done some searching myself. The thing is, this is such a new technology that's coming to the US. And so we don't know exactly where all the centers are yet. And they are coming to locations. So I'm wondering, Beth, if you know of any locations since you're on that side of the country in South Carolina. Claudia, hello. Mary, hello. Great. Glad you're here in person. Yeah, today's going to be, I think, a really nice class. I have an intention for today's class. The more I do this, the more I study, the more people I speak with, the more I see that's out there, the more clear I become in my messaging on what really matters when it comes to our bone health and what doesn't matter. And that's just light bulbs are going off for me. So today's practice is going to be hopefully very educational on what matters when it comes to the movement part, the fitness part, the exercise part of bone health, because that's a huge component, one of the top components when it comes to bone health. And then the other person that's here, Java 727, if you have any questions. Hi, Terry. Nice to see you as well. So anyone else that has any questions, please ask me. Joan, if you are able to text me, just let me know anything that's going on, what's happening in your life, your body, your bones. I'd like to know that. All right. So if there is not any more comments, and if anybody does know, I know that, I'm raising so much demand for REMS because I believe it to be the superior way for us to understand the quality and actual fracture risk, which is what matters. Bone density does not matter. So the DEXA scan is actually in a lot of ways telling us not very much. I'm not going to say nothing, but it's going to tell us not very much. And so that's why we really need the REMS. And it is a new technology, so not as available. Some women actually plan their trips to take long drives. I had a woman in Florida before she knew there was a location there. She drove all the way up to Dr. Bush in North Carolina. I think it was a 6 or 7 hour commute for her. And then Beth, I believe you potentially had a session with about your REMS, or you had your REMS done. So I really look forward to hearing about that. All right. Okay. If nobody else, if we could talk afterwards as well, let's get started because today I've got a lot going on for you. So for this practice today, we are going to focus on some really important aspects of bone health. The top of the funnel, most important thing you need to do is every single day you need to pull and push on your bones and demand more from your muscles and bones. Every single day. It could be a practice where you show up to your mat for an hour. It could be weight resistance training with someone that understands osteoporosis and osteopenia. Or it could be that every day you focus on single leg balance, on squatting, on doing something, especially in areas that you have the most potential, I'm going to use the word weakness in your bones. So whether that was in the spine that you had your reading or in the hip that you have your reading, it might be the balance is a challenge for you. Whatever it is, starting to think every day, how can I improve this? Because as you go on a daily basis, that's what happens. You start to improve that every day when you start to work on this. So I'd like you to come today here to your mat with a beginner mind. Even if you've practiced yoga for years and have a strong practice or have started to practice and believe that you have a pretty good understanding, I'd like you to come here with a beginner mind. So when I was in my early 40s, a yoga teacher tore my hip, pushed my body, tore my hip. I felt it happening. It was a male that pushed me, and I felt that because he didn't understand what's going on inside my body or in my joints. I had a very strong practice at that point, and then I couldn't practice anymore. I couldn't practice the way I practiced. I had to go back to a beginner body because I had to modify the practice for this injury, and then a surgery, and then a hip replacement. What I learned in that is I had the awareness of yoga as a yoga teacher at the time, and then I furthered my training in yoga therapy. I knew quite a bit, so I could actually systematically build my body up. That's what I'd like us to focus on today, coming back to a beginner mind so that we systematically, functionally, and appropriately line up the joints to create the maximum force possible in your hip joint, in the pelvis where the hip is attached or connects, and in the spine, the ribs, the wrists, and all of the places that matter. So if you do have a long practice, please slow down, listen to my words today as I guide you through this, because I observe and have observed thousands of bodies. I have women that come to me that say they've been practicing for 20, 30 years, and I see them doing the postures wrong when it comes to supporting or supplying the pressure to build stronger hips, stronger balance, and stronger body, and stronger spine and wrists. I see it. So I know that this is happening. So let's come to this moment with a beginner mind. For today's practice, you'll need a blanket, a block, a strap. Those are the minimum props that you'll need. I actually have this great addition. I recommend this for posture, for spinal health. It's called a 3-minute egg. You could purchase this, I believe, on Amazon. 3-minute egg, THREE minute egg. I'm not affiliated with them at all, so it's not that I get anything, but I think it's a fantastic prop. And a chair would be really great. Another thing would be a wall if you have a wall, because a wall and a chair are going to help you stay in that nice aligned position. And the better aligned you are, the stronger the forces are that you could create to the muscles, to the bones, to build as much as you can in the moment. Bones are judgmental. What are you asking for right now and the present moment? At this moment, what do you want? Here you go, let me give it to you. So to create the most stimulation, I want you to be in the best aligned position possible. So take your chair. I'm going to push this chair off to the side because I want to do a pretty deep chest opening to start the practice. I'm going to use this 3-minute egg. If you do not have a 3-minute egg, you could put a folded blanket underneath your heart. You could, if you had 2 blocks, put 2 blocks, one underneath your heart, one underneath your head. So I'll show you what I'm going to come down on, but I would like something back here behind your heart, manipulating your thoracic spine, because this position is what contributes to compression wedge fractures, making sure you're not anterior or forward in your body. So we're going to do a supported back bend, and we're going to use props for that. You get what you have. So I'm going to put this block here behind my back. If I didn't have a block, if I didn't have the egg, I could put this here and this here as well. And then of course, it depends on your body. So you need to modify according to what your body can do for you, where you are in your body. When you come down, making sure you always maintain the front part of your spine, the safe spinal space, that you always maintain that. Use bent knees because it'll protect your low back. You want the support to be behind the heart. Whether you have a folded blanket or a block, you want the support to be behind your heart. And move to a location where the maximum sensation you feel is right where your heart is, behind it. That is where thoracic 5, 6, and 7 are, and it's the least flexible or mobile part of your spine. So we want to get into the nooks and crannies of the spine, do this deep spinal opening, stretching the muscles of the spine, and then the postural muscles in the front of your body, which are your pectorals and your deltoids, and then all the connective tissue of your arms onto your body. Once you get into this position, keep the knees bent, And the arms could go straight out at the side, or you can start to bring a bend into your elbows. The higher up you put your upper arm bones, the more intensity you're going to bring into the stretch. So noticing for you what you need in your body. It's individual. This could be too intense for someone that is newer to the practice, that doesn't do a lot of supported back bends. And from an emotional perspective, it's a very vulnerable place for your nervous system. So keep your eyes open when you come into this, noticing what you notice. Your nervous system is always trying to keep you safe. So sometimes a heart opener could be a bit much. And in some classes I've taught over the years, actually has caused crying in some women. So being very aware of you, not just the physical body, but you as an energetic being. Taking your arms out to the side, make sure that the back neck is lengthened. Lift your head, tuck your chin towards your chest. Bring your awareness to the back of your neck and try to get the back of your neck to be in its natural curve. Reaching the arms into a position where you feel a pretty substantial stretch, and then identifying within yourself, when is it a stretch that's appropriate? When are the forces I'm applying enough, Goldilocks, and not too much and too little? So I'd like you to come close to your edge of feeling that you're not too little, not too little pressure, not too much pressure, but you're closer to the higher end. The more you pull on your bones, the more you push on your bones, the more stress you create, the more bone building you stimulate. And once you arrive here, close your eyes so you can start to let relaxation happen. Bring your awareness to the most intense place you feel. Keep the mouth closed, breathing in and out through the nose. Breathe to the place that you feel the most sensation, and bring in the word relaxation to that place. Relaxation. You bring in relaxation and you exhale tension. Once we manipulate the middle spine, the low spine, the lumbar spine, or the neck may experience the tension. So notice what's happening in the neck and in the low back, and bring the word relaxation on your inhale. Then we're going to add on to this, bringing in the word tension on the exhale. So inhale relaxation, and on the exhale, release tension, bringing in a softening to the area that you feel the most pulling, the most stretching. Inhale relaxation, exhale tension. Inhale relaxation, exhale tension. Keep your mouth closed, breathe in and out through your nose. Inhaling relaxation, exhaling tension. See if you could release, let go, get heavier on your exhale as you let tension leave your body. So give in to the stretch, to the opening. Pulling on muscles is one of the ways to create bone building stimulation. It also creates space in your joints, which helps to prevent or reduce pain. Our joint areas where we mostly experience inflammation and pain. Inhaling relaxation, exhaling tension. And then completing the breath you're on, take 3 more breaths like this. And then give the breath back to your body. Let's do a little movement here, taking the arms overhead on the inhale, and on the exhale, draw the shoulders closer to your waist, bringing in some mobility into your shoulder joint, getting a little bit more range of motion and stretch. Now, for those that have torn rotator cuff shoulder issues, you want to minimize how much you're pulling in this part of your body. So if you have any injuries or issues, you want to pay attention and be careful with any kind of stretching in that area. Being a self-advocate, doing what's best for your body. Finding Goldilocks. Goldilocks in the stimulation you create and in the protection you need if you have issues. Inhale, arms are overhead. Exhale, elbows to waist. And then bring yourself into a held position. You're gonna roll off, walk your feet closer to your body, your knees are closer to your chest, and then you're gonna roll off your props onto your side, and wherever you were, whatever you were doing, manipulating your spine, you'll feel that when you come out of it. So let your body settle here, let the spine settle here from that opening. Creating more space in the front of our body. Let's take the hand on the ground. Now here, coming in with a beginner and with awareness mind, do not pull yourself up. We have pulling muscles and we have pushing muscles. Do not pull yourself up with your body. Use the pushing muscles. These are muscles quite often that we are not using as much as we should. And when you push away from the floor here and you activate your pectorals, these are the front body postural muscles, very important for posture and alignment and spinal health. So push strongly with your hand and with your elbow to bring yourself up, letting your head go along for the ride. Clear your space, pushing your props off to the side. Go ahead and get your blanket. Now this is for knee protection. For those of you that have knee issues, and a lot of people have knee issues, support your knees appropriately. So having even a bigger fold may be something that feels better for you. Knees are on the blanket. Bring your hands. Try to bring your hands forward so that the distance between the heel of your hand and the distance between the heel of the hand and the knee, this distance here represents hip joint to shoulder joint in your body. I often see people being too close to their body, so they're jamming their body. I want you to walk a little far forward so that you have space. And then take your hands wider. Take your knees a little bit wider. Flatten your toes so your toenails are touching your mat. Then you're going to bring yourself forward, loading into your wrist. Push your fingertips into the floor. Come as far forward as it feels appropriate in your body. This is the inhale. As you exhale, contract your core. Push your belly up towards the sky. Bend your hip joint. Keep your head looking forward in front of your mat. When you keep your head lifted, you activate the back posture muscles and you do not round and put pressure on the front of your spine. Inhale to come forward, stretching the front of the body, the hip flexors and the belly. And when you exhale back, push your belly button up, bend your hip, tushy in the air, lengthening your spine. This is a safe way to stretch your spine if you have osteoporosis or osteopenia. Inhale to come forward, move slow and feel what you're doing. You're stretching your shoulder joint, your hip joint, your spine, and your torso. Exhale to come back, inhale forward. Spread your fingers a lot. For those of you that have wrist issues, push your fingers into the floor and distribute the weight. Don't let it just be in the heel of the hand, which is mostly to the wrist. Exhale back. Explore your range of motion that feels appropriate. Start to look up to the sky higher to get more bend in your spine if that's appropriate for you. Exhale back deeper. If you keep the front of your spine long, the arms long, and if the forehead can come to the ground with the tushy in the air, we're not doing child's pose, we're doing puppy dog. Keeping the front spine long. Inhale and exhale. And then bring yourself up. Come all the way up into a kneeling position. And this is often okay for those with knee issues. The closer your knees are, the more balance will be required by the body. And if you have balance issues or feel more comfortable with a little bit of a wider stance, choose what's appropriate for you. Take your hands alongside your body. Let's inhale to open, looking across the room at least halfway up the wall, and then exhale to hug yourself without rounding your spine. Keep your chest lifted. Your head is at least looking halfway up the wall or even 2/3 up the wall in front of you. Inhale to open, exhale to hug yourself. Now feel your shoulder blades. When you inhale to open, your shoulder blades glide towards each other in the center of your back, behind your heart. This supports posture. These are postural muscles. Exhale to hug yourself. Inhale to open and exhale to hug yourself. Keep your spine. You do not want to round. When you come forward, you don't want to round your upper spine. That's the biggest thing to pay attention to with osteoporosis or osteopenia, is that you do not bend your spine in what's called spinal flexion. Now bring your hands down alongside your body. Palms are out. Reach long in your fingers so you feel the stretch in your hand. Inhale up, gaze is up towards the hands. Turn the palms down, reach up with your arms, reach long with your head. Chin comes towards your chest to stretch the upper back and neck muscles, which are also postural muscles. Inhale up and exhale up and down. Long neck, chin to chest, push your chin back. Inhale up and exhale down. Stay here. Keep one hand down and one hand up. Keep the arm alongside your body, alongside your ear. Don't let it be forward and don't round your spine. This is where the beginner mind needs to come in. If you could lift your arm just to here and not get any higher and keep it close to your ear, then stop here. Don't go here and round your body to try to get it over more to the side. That is not safe for your spine. In and up, reach up, create space on the side of your body. This prepares us to safely backbend and twist, which is how we create the most stimulation to the spine to get stronger. Inhale up and over. If you have shoulder issues, you could reach up with an elbow. But that's a really important thing. Something I notice often is the desire to get over to the side causes the flexion to come in. And then your arm, you could see your arm with your eye. You want your arm alongside your ear, and not everyone has that range of motion. So beginner mind, being okay with where you are with this properly aligned lateral flexion of your spine. And then bring yourself back to center. Take your fingers, bend your fingers, 27 joints, 27 bones in the fingers. Bend all of them. Look at the top. There's a joint up there at the top of your fingers. Bend your fingers. And then grab through the air with muscular action. So you feel the tension you create when you grab in the air and bend your fingers. This is how we lubricate the joints, lubricate the muscles, keep our body safe when we practice, especially when we demand a lot, like it is important to do if you have osteoporosis or osteopenia and want stronger bones. Now, Keep your arms static, don't move them, and only move your wrists slowly. The slower you go, the more you'll get in the nooks and crannies and get more range of motion in one direction and in the other. Keep your arms, you're not doing this, the arms are not moving, you're just moving the wrist joint. And then open up the hands in one direction and then in the other. Coming back, shoulders are forward, up, back, and they're down. Forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. And then a little chest expansion to stretch the front of the body. So with chest expansion, getting your hands clasped behind your body. If you cannot clasp behind your body, try to grab onto the elbows. And if you can't grab onto the elbows, you could take your hands, the heel of the hand at the top of the pelvis. So whatever it is for you, holding onto your hands, pushing into your pelvis, push down and then lift your arms up. This slides the shoulder blades towards each other and then push the shoulder blades forward to lift your chest. You'll feel a stretch in the belly below the ribs. Chest expansion, this can be something you do daily, taking a break or standing there whenever you remember to come into chest expansion, especially if you've been forward in your body. So if your head's been forward, cooking, knitting, reading, texting, being on the computer, chest expansion is a nice break. And then bring yourself out. So we're going to come into the first posture, plank, which creates tremendous strengthening for the wrist joint, for the shoulders, for the upper body, for the whole front body, for the hip joint, especially the front of the hip. An area that I noticed a lot when I had my hip replacement was how weak I was in the front of my hip joint. And over the years of practicing, getting that strength back in the front of my hip joint, especially with this plank posture. So I'll give you the modifications and then we'll do the full posture if that's for you. We're all going to come into this the same way because it'll make it easier to understand the alignment principles here. Now flatten, come to the very edge of your blanket, flatten your toenails so they're on the floor, and then start to walk your hands forward. Walk your hands forward so your whole body comes forward. Do not leave your tushy in the air. Pelvis has to come forward of the knee joint so that your core turns on to manage the weight off center. Now spread your fingers a lot. Draw the pubic bone up towards the lower ribs to flatten out the low back. Do not come too low and don't be in a hammock. You need your tushy to be in alignment. Your pelvis is in alignment with your spine. Bring that beginner mind. Push your fingertips into the floor. Now slide the shoulder blades towards each other. So you have that support with your shoulder blades. If you would like to flip your toes under and lift your knees off here. And if you do have your knees off, make sure that the toes are bending, all of them. So bring your awareness to the left foot, push through that left heel, awareness to the right foot, push through the right heel, push your hands into the ground so you're pushing through your heels. Make sure the pinky toes are bent, the next toe, next toe, next toe, and the big toe. You're on the whole ball of your foot, not just the front part of the ball where the big toe and second toe are. So really make sure you're distributing your weight evenly. Push through your heels. Bring your awareness to your hands. Push your hands into the floor. You could open your eyes or just bring your awareness. Push the pinky, the ring, the middle of the pointer, and the thumb. Push away from the floor a lot. Now your gaze is forward. Don't let your head hang. Bring your awareness to the front of your body, your core, where your pubic bone is, towards your low ribs. Take an inhale. As you exhale, draw the pubic bone up towards the low ribs, whether you're modifying or you're in the full version. Inhale to release. Exhale, pubic bone to ribs. Push away from the floor. Bones are judgmental and present moment. Keep your head active. Exhale, pubic bone towards lower ribs. And then one more. And then coming down into a rest position. You could be in a kneeling high position if your knees don't bend, kneeling low if they do, and then catch your breath. Deep breaths down to your belly, to your pelvis. When you experience an accelerated heart rate, that's because you activated more muscles or a lot of muscles. So we have to strengthen the muscles in order to strengthen the bones. And of course, finding what is appropriate for you. Take one more breath. And then blink your eyes open. Doing whatever it is you can do, being okay with wherever you are. That was a little bit of a longer hold for plank. So you may have needed to come out, and then you can gauge how strong you're getting by noticing that gets a little easier the more often you practice. Strengthens the wrist, which is really important, and brings in that flexibility to the wrist to minimize fracture risk when we have those limber joints. So we're gonna go down onto the ground, and if you have a strap, I'd like you to have a loop in the strap. If you do not have a strap, a block will do. You could also use a robe and tie your robe strap or a belt. And I think it's a good idea to purchase props if you can, because we do need to take care of our bones the rest of our lives. And I think yoga therapy is the best way to do that because it encompasses so many aspects of healthy aging. So take your blanket to the top of the mat. Come onto your buttocks. Don't come down yet. So do not come down onto the ground yet. Move back and forth to feel your pelvis. This area here, we have the legs attaching here. So we're going to do some postures that pull on the pelvis, creating more flexibility and more receptivity in case you slip, trip, stumble, or fall. So a little side to side action. And then let's do some core activation, hip flexors and core. So your core from the base of your body to the lower ribs, this section right in here. We're going to activate that. You have the pelvic floor that lifts up, the lower ribs that stay pressed down, not flaring up, and then you cinch in your waist with core contraction. So bring one foot at a time back, coming into what's called boat pose or Navasana. You're balancing here on your spine. Keep your elbows active and out to the side. And then you decide, can you lift off your arms, lifting your chest towards your legs and your legs towards your chest? Or do you need to hold on with a fingertip or 2 or 3 or 4, or maybe the whole arm, the whole hand? You decide. Pulling your chest to your knees to your chest. Activate your core, pelvic floor, cinch in your waist, push your belly button towards your spine, look forward and up. You're strengthening your quadricep muscles, your hip flexors, and your core. Take one more breath, and then bring yourself down. So here is a safe way. Let's go back to beginner body on coming down to the ground. I know that we go down to the ground a lot. We know what to do, but let's bring in this beginner mind. Front of spine staying lengthened is critical to bone health and to reduce compression wedge fractures here in front of the spine. We want to make sure we don't collapse our body. So come to the side, take your arm, and as you reach your arm away from you as you come down, you keep your spine nice and long. That's a way to keep yourself safe coming down to the ground. When you come down, make sure that the blanket is underneath your head only, and then grab your strap. So we're going to pull on the pelvis with a leg stretch. The hamstring muscles attach behind the knee joint, and they start on the pelvic rim. The pelvis, keeping your pelvis in neutral is important, so let's work with what that is. So walk your feet back. Your pelvis here, you're going to feel the center of the back of your pelvis, your sacrum. Take your fingers on the floor, and then bring your knees up into what's called tabletop. Now here, depending on where you are with the practice, the knees closer to the chest are going to tilt your pelvis back and press your low back into the ground. So just explore that. Knees are above your pelvis, knees come closer to your chest. Your pelvis is tilting backwards, flattening your low back. That is a posterior pelvic tilt. You're tilting your pelvis backwards. Now bring your knees right above your pelvis here. Low back is not touching the ground when the legs are coming straight out of the hip joint. If you can maintain this,
contracting your core. Keep your knees here. For some of you, it's too intense and you might not have the strength yet. You need to draw your knees closer to your chest to maintain this. Take your hands on the floor, flex your feet. Let's tap one foot down like you're testing out the bath water. Exhale, contract your core to come up. Inhale, the toes down. Exhale, contract your core to come up. Inhale and exhale. Try to keep your pelvis stable. Feel the pressure in the center of the pelvis at the back of your body. The back is not touching, the low back is not touching. You're in a neutral pelvis, this is core. We want to maintain this neutral pelvis when we pull on our pelvis. 2 more, 1 on each side, and you'll feel the muscles here, the hip flexors at work. Bring yourself up to neutral and then draw your knees in. When you draw your knees in, feel how your total pelvis turns backwards, tilts backwards, low back flattens into the ground, goes side to side. So this is a great way to relax your low back muscles, to bring the lumbar spine into flexion and to release the tension. And then bring your feet onto the floor. So we're gonna actually now pull on our pelvis, and ideally you should be in a neutral pelvis, not in a posterior tilt. So go ahead and get your strap and bring your right foot on the strap. Now do not lasso. Let's see if you can maintain the flexion in your knee, the bend in your knee and your hip. Place the strap on your foot yourself without having to bend, without having to look up, unless right now you still need to do that. This has to do with how well you're bending your knee and bending your hip. So keeping range of motion and flexibility in your joints is critical for bone health, for being able to be active and to create the appropriate forces in your bones. You could explore taking the left leg straight, see if that works for you. And then walk your hands up the strap. Hold on to the right strap with the right hand, left strap with the left hand. And then walk your hands up the strap. So again, the beginner mind, if you're holding on to the loop, you're used to holding on to the loop, or you hold on with both hands to one strap, try today to hold on to 2 pieces. It helps to strengthen your hands. And grip strength is linked to fracture risk. So we want to work on hand strength here. Hands are up straight. It's harder to hold down here. Hold your hands up here. So walk up straight. Now you want a neutral pelvis. Push the left leg or the left foot into the floor. Make it active. Pull the toes towards you. Pull down with the strap to feel the pressure in the right buttock. And then push the right knee away from you. Here you should probably already feel some stretch behind your right thigh. Now with the neutral pelvis, draw the leg back towards the wall. Try not to tilt your pelvis back. Keep pushing the right leg away. Resist that right leg, pushing it away and pulling it back. Push away, pull back. Try to stay neutral in your pelvis. Feel most of the pressure in the right buttock on the floor. Low back is not pressing into the floor. Push the leg away, pull back. And then look at your foot. Toes are pointing towards the wall behind you, not out to the side like a duck. Heel is away from you. Flex the foot so your foot is flat up towards the sky. Push the leg away, pull back. Create as much tension behind your leg as you can. Take 1 more breath. And then bend the left knee if it's straight. Bring yourself out. This is actually a forward fold. And we're not supposed to forward fold with osteoporosis in yoga. It's the #1 thing to not do, is to forward fold and round your spine, flex your spine. This technically is a 90-degree hip flexion, or depending on what range of motion you have. This is a forward fold of the body. And because we're on the ground, we keep our spine safe. We don't press on the front of the spine. Now here, the bending of your left knee, your left hip, can you put your strap on your foot? How close is your foot to your hands? And let's do this side stretch. Walk your hands up the strap as close as you can get them to the foot. Explore straightening the right leg if that's available to you, or keep that knee bent. And then flex that right foot so it's active, pulling the toes towards you. You could wrap your hands around the strap if you'd like. Pull the leg down so you feel the left buttock pressing into the ground. Push the left foot away from you, or the left leg, and then draw the left leg towards the wall behind you. Keeping the low back off the floor, the pelvis in a neutral position. Push the right leg into the floor, it'll give you a little more access to the left. Pull down, feel the tension in the middle of the buttock. Push the leg away, pull the leg back towards the wall behind you. Pull down, push away. Feel the tension at the back of your leg. The leg muscle attaches to the pelvis, you're pulling on your pelvis, and then it attaches behind your knee. If you keep your knee straight, which is really important for this posture for osteoporosis, you're pulling on the origin and the insertion. You're pulling on the tendons of the muscle where it attaches to the bones, which means you're pulling on the bones. If you bend your knee, you're in the muscle, you're stretching your muscle, but you're not pulling on the bones the way that we want when we're doing yoga therapy for bone health. Pull down, push that leg away. Take one more breath, making sure your foot alignment is proper as well. And then bend the right leg, go ahead, take the strap off. Bring the strap to the side. Come into a fully outstretched position if your low back is okay doing this. Point your toes, reach with your fingers, stretching the front of your body. And then on the exhale, reach through the heels of the hands, heels of the feet. Take that stretch into the back of your body. Inhale the front of your body, pulling the ribs away from the pelvis, feel the stretch, and then exhale, heels and heels. Heel of the hand, heel of the feet. Inhale and exhale. And then let's go ahead and bend the knees. So now we're going to come into a bridge, and the bridge posture, one of the best postures for bone health, to strengthen the back of the body, posture, alignment muscles, to stretch the front of the body, to create this back bend, which we need more of in our lives, which is a safe movement for osteoporosis or osteopenia, a safe movement for bone health. So I'd like you to explore this with a strap, with a loop if you have that, or you could tie a belt or a rope strap around, or the strap itself if you're not able to loop it. You need the tension. So you need it to be that you could really push hard into this. If you do not have that, you could do the bridge pose with a block between your knees and do the bridge that way. But this will help with alignment, and we're focusing on the beginner mind of doing all that we can to support alignment in our body. When you do come into the bridge, you want to create as much of a rainbow shape. You want to push the back of the spine into itself for compressive force, for bone building stimulation, and stretch and lengthen the front of the spine. Bring your knees up and put the strap on your feet, and then bring the strap to the top part of your legs. Take your fist and try to get only about a fist distance here. So not too wide. Tighten it if you need to, or loosen it if you need to. And the strap is pretty high, it's right by the knees. Take your blanket away from your head. When you come into your bridge, you want the bend in your spine. You do not want a straight up and down spine. You don't want to put extra pressure in your head or neck. You want the weight to come to the upper back. So let's get ourselves aligned here. Take your arms and bend your arms, all of us. Bending the arms, pushing the arms into the ground to lift your rib cage away from the floor so you could slide the shoulder blades closer together. Then you lift the head and lengthen your neck. So you feel the weight of your head in the center of your head, closer to your neck, not towards the top. Walk your feet closer to your body, and then tilt your pelvis back so that you flatten your low back here. Inhale. As you exhale, push your feet into the floor, push out on the strap, squeeze your buttocks, and push your pelvis up towards the sky so you unbend your hip joint. Push your arms in so more of your rib cage leaves the ground. Feel the weight coming to the upper back, not to the head and neck. And on the inhale, slowly lower down, warming up your spine, integrating that proper spinal movement here in the bridge before we come to holding. On the exhale, push your feet into the floor, push out on the strap, or squeeze the block if you're using a block. Squeeze the buttocks, push the pelvis up towards the sky, push the arms in to push away from the floor so the rib cage moves away and bends in the upper spine behind the heart. Inhale slowly to lower down. This is safe spinal movement in the way that we want and need to support our bone health, our strong spine. Last one, push your feet into the floor, squeeze block or push out on the strap, squeeze buttocks, push your pelvis up towards the sky. Now push the tricep area of your arms into the ground so that the rib cage moves away. Bring your awareness to the back of your rib cage where your shoulder blades are. Push the shoulder blades forward to bend that upper spine behind the heart as much as possible. So here you have your arms active. This may be where you stay. Or you could come with your arms straight on the ground and the whole arm will touch, the wrist and the hand. So if it's not touching, go back to the step before where you bend your elbows and push your triceps into the ground. If you're here in the straight arms and you have been practicing and you have a lot of range of motion and flexibility in your spine, if you're able to clasp your hands, pressing the entire arm, the pinky edge of the hand, the wrist and the forearm and the upper arm, and the elbows are straight, then you could slide the upper arms underneath a little bit more to get a little higher. If your arms are bent and your torso is resting on your arms, go back to straight arms or bent arms. Push your feet into the floor, squeeze your tushy, push your pelvis up, push your shoulder blades to bend the upper spine. Close your eyes, try to unbend your hips, stretch the front of your spine, push the arms into the floor the whole time. Don't make this be just about the legs. Push the arms in. Keep that strength in your posture, in your alignment, in your spine. Deep breaths. Push your feet in, push out on the strap, squeeze the buttocks, unbend the hips. Push the arms in a lot. Take one more breath. And then you start by releasing the tension from the tricep area, from the arms, bringing your hands back. Lift your heels off the floor. Start to press the spine one vertebra at a time. And before you get to the low back, try to push the whole rib cage into the floor. You're going to be tilting your pelvis back a lot, stretching low back muscles here, feeling that relief in the low back, muscles below the ribs to where the pelvis attaches. Bring yourself all the way down. Feel the sacrum, the pelvis touching. Reach up to get your blanket, bring your blanket behind your head, and then take your strap off. Draw the knees into your chest. Keep your knees wide, so they're wider than your body. Your low back is pressing into the ground. And then hold on behind your hamstrings, one sole at a time up towards the sky. You rock side to side to feel the low back pressing into the ground, rocking across the top edge of your pelvis. And then bring your knees to your chest. Bring yourself onto your side. Another opportunity to not pull up, but rather to push, keeping your posture and your upper body muscles strong. Push away to bring yourself up to seated.
And then checking in with how you're feeling. And is this appropriate? Staying in that Goldilocks position for your body. Let's do one twist before we come to standing, because twisting is how we create lumbar spine stimulation. We just did a back bend and bridge, and now we're going to twist the spine. Take your blanket at the top of your mat, fold your blanket, and come to sit on the edge of your blanket. You'll need your block for this.
So come to the front edge, reach under and grab the flesh. Take the flesh back so you feel your sits bones here. Bring your block to the back left side of your body. Your legs are straight, and then you bend your left leg. Now to stay safe, when you're twisting, you need to have a lengthened spine and a front open spine. If you have roundness in your spine and you try to rotate over that flexion in your spine, you put so much pressure in the part of the spine that fractures with osteoporosis. This is where the fractures occur at the front. So you cannot be rounded and then rotate. You need to be lengthened and a back bend and then rotate to be safe. So bend the left leg, block is behind you on the ground. Hold on to the left leg, pull the left leg to your heart and your heart to your left leg. Make sure your right foot is active. Toes are up towards the sky, not out to the side like a duck. So that's external hip joint rotation. You want to be in a nice aligned position. Hold on to your leg, pull your leg to your heart and keep your elbows lifted. Bring the left hand onto the block, or if you have longer arms, you could be on the ground. You want to push away to bring length into your body. Lower the shoulders from your ears, lift your right elbow. Take an exhale. Now as you inhale, turn your lower rib cage to the left. Turn the middle rib cage to the left, and turn the upper rib cage to the left. Once you get here, keeping that elbow lifted, lower the shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Push the shoulder blades forward to lift your heart, and then keep your chin parallel towards the ground. Lower the shoulder blades, slide them towards each other, push them forward. Bring your awareness to the right foot. Push the right foot into the floor, right toes are towards you. Keep the right elbow lifted, pull the heart towards the left knee and the left knee towards the heart. Keep working the whole time. You don't just get there and stay there. You constantly create that stimulation. Bones are judgmental. What are you doing right now in this moment? Present moment and judgmental. Right elbow, lower the shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, push the shoulder blades forward, and rotate your thoracic spine, your rib cage, as much as you can. Take one more breath. To come out with length, be as tall as you could be. Push your block to the other side. Let's go to the other side. Bending the right knee, the right leg, the right hip. Hold on. Make sure you take any rounding out of your body by pulling your knee to your chest to your knee. And the hand goes on the floor behind you. Left leg is active, toes are towards you. Left elbow is lifted. Right hand is pushing it into the ground or into the block. Exhale. As you inhale, turn your lower rib cage to the right, your middle rib cage to the right, and your upper rib cage to the right. Keep your left leg active, left elbow lifted, right elbow bent or straight, depending on where your hand is. Push away to get tall. Lower the shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards each other or towards the center. Push them forward to lift, to lengthen, and to twist. Keep doing all those actions. Pull the heart towards the right knee. Push the left leg into the floor. Pull the toes towards you. Lift that left arm. Lower the shoulders. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Push the shoulder blades forward to lift, to lengthen. Push down to get tall and to twist. One more, lower shoulders, slide shoulder blades together. Press forward and lift. And take one more breath. And then with length, bringing yourself all the way out. Come all the way out. Let's come into an inner thigh stretch to get your body ready for the standing practice. So come to the edge of your blanket. You could bring a block here to push away from to stay nice and tall in your body, making sure that you do not round. You don't try to come forward with your head and round forward. You want to make sure you minimize that flexion. Toes are up. And so this is another area. If you practice for a long time and you're used to forward folding, not in the hip joint, But in the spine, to show that you could get to the ground, that's too much rounding in the spine.
You want the forward movement, if you have it in your body, to be isolated in the hip joint. Spine stays long, front of spine stays long. Only come forward if that's in your practice, if that's safely in your practice when it comes to bone health. And so this is why having this here pushing away is going to activate those pushing muscles, which are going to protect your spine. So do what's appropriate, the forward movement in the hips if that's in your practice. Lots of people are much tighter in their adductors, their inner thigh muscles, and even hamstrings than they realize. And if we don't bend properly in the hip, we start to bend in the spine. So when we go down, if it's not where it should be, it then comes into where it shouldn't be, which is in the spine when it comes to bone health. Bring yourself out. We're going to come to standing. So coming up through standing, let's also make this bone stimulating. If you know that you need to get up a different way with the wall or a chair, do that. Otherwise, this is a little stronger way to come up and more hip stimulation. Take your feet wide. Make sure you don't have your feet close together. So your feet are as wide as your mat. Your hands are as wide as your mat. Your gaze is forward. Don't let your head hang or look down. Push yourself back and lift your tushy in the air. Your gaze is forward. From here, walking your hands back so that your feet touch the floor. Walk your feet wider if they're not wide. I often see feet closer together than they should be. The bend is in the hip joint where it's safe. The front spine is long. Bring yourself so you bring your forearms onto your thighs. You're looking forward. You might need to use your arms a lot here on your legs, especially if you're not as strong yet in the leg muscles and in the glutes. This is a lot of hip joint strength, a lot of lower body strength, which translates to healthy aging. Gaze is forward. If you want a little bit more intensity, lift your toes up so you're truly in your heels, which is more back body, more glute, and then bring your arms forward if you can. Toes are up, really push your heels into the floor. Make sure you don't round your spine, so keep your head up. Take one more breath, and then bring yourself up. Let's prepare the area to practice. When you bend down, it's your hips that bend down to get your props, moving them off to the side. You could keep your block. We might use the block, take the others off to the side. Then go ahead and grab your chair and or a wall. So have your chair nearby so that we can practice tree pose. With that beginner mind, let's try to do the best that we can here to create the stimulation in the hip and to strengthen balance and to strengthen feet. So bring your toes up and spread your toes. You want your feet only to be about either an inch apart or a few inches apart. And your toes are pointing forward, not out to the side. So make sure that your toes are forward. And then just push your body weight back and forth from one foot to the other. If you need your chair here, don't grab onto your chair. Push into your chair with your fingers or push into your chair from the top. And just go side to side. And as you do this, notice, where's your body weight? Does it stay in the top part of the foot? Does it stay in the heel? Does it feel even when you go from side to side on your feet? So this is part of the communication in the body, the proprioceptive nervous system. Proprioceptive. Side to side. And if you need the chair, have the chair there. Bring yourself back to center. Whatever leg is near the chair is the one you're going to move towards. So take your hand on the chair if you need it. Move your body weight to that side. Bend the toes, all 5 of them, not just the big toe. Keep your pelvis where it is and let your knee go out to the side. Notice, did you dump in your hip? And if you did, lift out of that hip. Let's get in here nice from the beginning.
Now you could bring your foot on top of the other foot and your heel into your lower leg if you're in the beginning part of practicing tree, or if you're able to lift your foot up so it's in between the ankle and the knee. Make sure you're not pushing on the inner knee joint with your heel, because that is unsafe for the knee. And if you do bring your leg up higher, it doesn't do any difference to your hip. What it does is it might cause you to round your spine, flex your spine, which is a no-no, to lift the leg up to show that I could do the tree up here. That is not what we need to do, beginner mind. So if you have your foot here or you have your foot up higher, same amount of pressure in the pelvis. So what's your intention? If it's to strengthen balance and to strengthen your pelvis, down here is fine. You do not want to round your spine. Arms are out to the side. If you're having trouble, you've got your chair to push away from, or hands on the waist, elbows back can also be supportive of this posture. Grab the floor with your foot. You could also take your arms out to the side. Grab the floor with the foot. Push away from the floor to be as tall as you can in your body. If you have a strong practice and you want to add challenge, move your head around. Bring in the vestibular balance center in your body, which is head position and ear fluid. And then if you're feeling really strong, you could also look up, which is a challenge. The other thing is visual. If you have a very strong practice closing one eye or the other, or even both eyes, and I only recommend that for those that have a very strong practice, because it's dangerous and you don't want to do anything dangerous. You only want to challenge yourself appropriately. Take one more breath and then bring yourself out. Feeling that tension, that was quite a while there on that single leg balance, strengthening that hip complex and the balance communication for fall prevention. Tree posture, single leg balance, something really nice to try to find into your life daily. Let's come to the other side, moving your chair. If you have a chair, bring your body weight to the side near the chair, bending all 5 toes, keeping the pelvis forward, knee out to the side. Bring the foot up in between the knee and the ankle, or foot on the foot, one foot on the other foot, and heel up against lower leg. Here, pushing away from the chair, either on the inside or on the top if you need it. Hands on the waist, hands out to the side. Bringing in the challenge if that's what you'd like, which is the head position, or the eyes, and even the arms. Make sure you push away from the ground to get tall in your body. Make sure you're not dumping or hanging out in that hip. Be strong. Lift your heart. Bones are judgmental and present moment, and you are asking a lot from your hip right now. From balance in your body, the communication. Grab the floor with your foot. Do what's appropriate for you. Challenging yourself every time so you do get stronger. This is tree pose, and in Sanskrit, it actually, Vrikshasana means becoming a tree. It's not meant to be perfect without any movement in it. It's the process of becoming the big, strong, stable tree that we want to be, need to be for fall prevention. So you're working towards becoming stable and strong. Take one more breath, and then bring yourself out. Triangle posture, another posture that I see being done incorrectly or not correctly enough to create the stimulation in the hips and in the spine, which is really important. So let's try this with a chair and or a block. Block is on the ground, making sure you bend your hips when you go down and not your spine to put the block down. A wall is a really nice thing to use as well, either with a wall or without, but definitely with a chair. Legs are wide. The wider the better. And if you need a wall, this will get you to go wider. Let's go to the front leg. So we might have different legs here. Pull the toes up, keep the legs straight, and swivel in that hip. Do not come into this and move your body. That's not what we want. We want to create external rotation in the hip joint. So lift the toe, swivel on the toe with a straight leg, into external rotation. Lift the back heel up and move the back heel away. External, internal, placing your hips in a position for maximum stimulation. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and they're down. Awareness on the front lower rib, front top pelvis. This right here needs to be maintained. The bend is in the hip, not in the spine. So this is not about how low you go. It's how deep can you bend in your hip. So push the pelvis away from you, bend that front hip, and bring your hand on top of the chair. Don't grab it, push away. Keep your rib cage far away from your pelvis. Other arm in the air. For many, this is where they are in triangle. If you could come down lower by bending your hip more and keeping your spine long, come down lower, but not if you're bending your waist to get there. It needs to be the pelvis moves away, the hips are bending, arm is in the air, and then you get a lot of rotational force with triangle, which puts pressure in the lumbar spine. Contract your tushy, pull your tailbone down, so take that roundness out of the low back. Long spine, and then turn your heart up towards the sky. What's happening to your feet? Grab the floor with your feet, push the toes in, push the pinky toe edge, the whole pinky toe edge of your foot in the floor to lift and activate your arches. Long spine, lifted arches, active feet. Keep your spine long on the side, you're bending your hip. Long spine, now turn your spine up towards the sky. Take one more breath. Push your feet into the floor, keep your spine long, using your core to push yourself up to come out. And let's go to the other side. I see a lot of improper body position in triangle posture. Not wide enough in the legs, so bring your chair to the side. The wider you go, the more play you're gonna have in your hips, the more bend you're gonna have. If you're too close together, you can't get your hips to bend. You're not gonna be able to go down, and then you're gonna bring that into your waist, into your spine. So wide, maybe a wall for you. Keep your legs straight, lift the toes up, turn into that external hip joint rotation, lift the back heel up. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and they're down. Inhale with length in your front spine, bend your hip, move your pelvis away, and bring your hand on top of the chair. Heart is forward. If you're able to go a little lower, keeping your spine long, pushing your pelvis away, and truly bending in your hip, not in your spine, go lower. Arm up. Awareness in your feet. Grab the floor with your toes, pinky toe edges. Push away from the chair to lengthen your spine and turn your heart up towards the sky. Long spine. Awareness in your feet. Grab the floor, pinky toe edges. Long spine, bending your pelvis. Keep checking your alignment. Is the bend in your hip? Is your spine long? Are your lower ribs away from the top of the pelvis on that side? And then are you able to turn your heart and your upper chest up towards the sky, creating some of that force to create lumbar spine strength? Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up, bring yourself out. Let's do one last posture, coming out of the chair. Take your block, come to sit at the chair and come to the very front edge of the chair. The block goes between your knees and you walk your feet back closer to the chair. So the ankle is behind the knee. And your feet are only block distance, which is about 4 inches, and they're pointing forward, not out to the sides. So do not be like this. You want your feet to be right in this distance and forward, not out to the side. So find that. You're at the front edge of your chair. Bring your feet back. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and they're down. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, come forward, push your feet into the floor, bring your arms forward, squeeze your block, your body weight is back, bending your hips deeply. Lots of hip stimulation here. Look down and push your knees back so that you see the whole top part of your foot. Squeeze your block and then pull your tailbone down to protect your low back. Bring your arms up, keep your low body where it is. Really squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the block, reach forward with your arms. Squeeze the block. Push your heels into the floor. Lift your toes off if you can. Spread your toes so you're in the back body. Can you go deeper in the hip? Letting yourself go down with your hip joint, keeping your spine nice and long. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself up. Shake your legs. Noticing how your body feels. So we're going to come into the last posture. We need to bring our beginner mind here as well with the last posture. Shavasana. One of the most valuable things you'll do is relax your nervous system and stimulate parasympathetic nervous system because that's the bone building zone. The bone dissolving zone is thinking, worrying, living in the future, not being in the present moment. So let's treat our Shavasana today with a beginner mind, staying with our breath, inhaling relaxation, exhaling tension. You could do this with the chair. It's a nice way to release the low back, or come down onto the ground with a fully outstretched position. Do what's appropriate for you. What is your favorite? Making sure when you do come down on the ground, you think of all the things, all of the awareness pieces that matter to keep your body nice and strong. If you do your legs up the chair, you want your entire leg to touch the chair, so the back of the knees touch the back of the chair. Your arms can go on your belly. Inhaling relaxation, exhaling tension. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Let your awareness go to your pelvis, your hips, your low back, your spine, making sure that the practice was appropriate, that you did find the Goldilocks position, not too much and enough. And start to bring movement into your body, wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, and then drawing the knees into your chest. Low back presses against the floor, rock across the top edge of your pelvis. We do a lot of stimulation to the spine, and we're pulling on these muscles that attach to the pelvis. So this can be nice and relaxing for all of that tension created in this part of your body. Bring yourself onto your side, and then again, pushing away, not pulling up, pushing and using the extra muscular strength it takes to push versus pulling. Come into a seated position. We'll close the practice with sound, calming, settling, whatever needs to be settled in your body and in your mind. Bring your hands together, rub your hands together, bring your hands to your heart. When you push your heart to your hands and your hands to your heart, you stimulate and activate the back muscles that hold you upright. We'll close with a humming sound to gently settle the body, settle the mind. Take a big exhale. Inhale deeply. Hands to forehead. Bowing in gratitude at the hip joint, keeping this front spine nice and long. Namaste. If you're going to show up and do the work and do the practice, make it be effective and efficient and the best that it can be. So it's not about how low you go or all of these fancy things that you may have developed along the way or learned. I've observed thousands of bodies over the years, and it's what I have noticed, especially in certain postures like triangle, where the desire, the ego comes to practice with us, and we want to go lower and show that we can. And then I think for women, we want to show that we're still strong and confident. And so that we do that, we go lower, we think we need to do that. But in actuality, backing off, coming to the beginner mind, going into the appropriate flexion or bending into the joints or creating those appropriate forces is all we need to do and is more valuable and more powerful than going lower in postures. I cannot say that enough. I observe it every single week in teaching live classes. I want you to be safe, strong, and safety is really critical for me. So slow down your practice, open up your beginner mind, and practice with that awareness and intention. And you will create the stimulation for stronger muscles, stronger bones, stronger body, stronger balance for fall and fracture prevention, which is what we want and need as we age. All right, I want to know how that was, Mary. First, or not very often you get to do live with me. So let me know. Something that has been, it's kind of a thing for me because I do teach 4 live classes a week. So I do have access to this information always, and it's something I've noticed. Let me see who else was here. Beth, you did. Ooh, so Beth, you don't have to share that with us here if you don't want to. And if you do want to, go on to the community Stronger Bones Lifestyle and share it with us there. Or you can email me privately because I am really looking forward to hearing. And also if you were able to meet with Dr. Bush yet, because he is a gem for us ladies when it comes to bone health. Joan, Quebec. I have a lot of Canadians that I found in these since really 2020. Yeah, so I know, so let me just say this about the REMS. It is amazing, and it will truly tell you the health, the state, the quality, and the fracture risk that you have. That is
true. And this is what the orthopedic surgeons, the surgeons that are in the bones, that are putting screws and plates in them, tell me. On lots of them that I'm interviewing on my podcast, you can listen to Stronger Bones Lifestyle podcast and hear it from them. So the orthopedic surgeons are the ones that are really pushing for this technology. It may be 5 hours away. It may be 10 hours away. Eventually, there will be more machines closer to you, hopefully. And now there just aren't, that doesn't exist. So if it is possible to make the trek to go get it done, and it's really only a 15-minute process, or if you'd like to wait until a machine comes closer to you, that's an option as well. The DEXA scan, take it with a grain of salt. It gives you a density score. It is not reliable. It does not give you fracture risk. If you have small bones, a small body, or the opposite, larger BMI, if you have a lot of extra stored energy in your body, you will not get a true reading. If you want to know the fracture risk that you possess, whether do you need to go on medications or not, or what do you need to focus on, the REMS is going to give you that answer, and the interpretation by the orthopedic surgeons that are the mavericks, the pioneers, and the true geniuses when it comes to this technology. It is what it is for now. Hopefully it'll be available in your area. We just got one where I live, but before that, I got mine in London. I flew to London. I was going there anyway, but I flew to London and had Dr. Birch do my REMS for me in London. So please go get one. For those of you in Los Angeles, the OsteoStrong clinics have them. There's a road shows that go around. OsteoStrong clinics are getting the machines, and then you need to get it interpreted by somebody who's been looking at hundreds or thousands, like Dr. Birch and Dr. Bush and Dr. Zambito. Let me see what else was being said here. Okay. So I would recommend, Joan, wherever you can get one, to try to put that on your list. Great, Claudia. Thanks for saying that. Yes, very strong. You know what? My daughter painted it. She was in class in high school. Isn't it cute? I love it. And I use it all the time. She painted it. And she's not even my artistic daughter. I have another daughter that's more artistic. But isn't that a great chair? So I use that in my classes when I use chairs. All right. Who else is here? Thanks, Beth. Mary, good. Yeah. And you know what? The whole thing about the hip, Mary, the more space you have, the less pain you have. So stretching is important. Great, Terry. Cannot wait to hear about that. My Stronger Bones Lifestyle community, where a lot of these ladies are, we could discuss all of those things in there. So if you're here and you're not in that community, I would love to have you join us. And I'll put that link in here so you could learn more about it and join us. I don't know why it's not going in. So for some reason, I am not able to get it in there. Okay, my website, debbierobinson.com. That's where you'll find it. So if you go to debbierobinson.com, hopefully I could put that in there. And I'm not sure why I'm not able to do that. Ridiculous. Okay, there you go. What else? Yes, I know, Mary. The weather was not permitting you to get it when you had it scheduled. So hopefully you get it soon. Okay, a broken hip, how long ago, Joan? And do you have screws and pins? I want to know that. How long ago was your fractured hip? Was it from a very big fall or not such a big fall? I'd like to know that. Cute hair. Me? You know what, Mary? I don't know if you're talking about me, but I think that's what you said, right? Really, really cute hair. I'm supposed to have my hair done. And I'm like, should I be getting it done? I've been getting a lot of hair compliments lately. Good. Gail, good. Yeah, we did 9 poses today. And so a little bit less poses, longer holds, lots of description. Yes, join the community if you haven't. Go to Debbie Robinson Wellness. You'll see that. Claudia's in there as well. I'm there every day. You're going to North Carolina to Dr. Bush. Yes, you did. So, all right. Any more questions? Thank you all for being here. I'm here because you're here. And I am on a mission, ladies. I am seeing so much out there in the bone health world. Lots of sales and marketing stuff is happening that I'm not happy about. So you don't need to spend a whole lot of money on your bone health. You need to learn what's possible. If you do functional labs, then you're going to spend a little bit more doing a deeper dive. And especially if you work with someone that's putting together a custom protocol, that's definitely the case. And there's a lot of opportunities to not be spending a lot of money, but to learn what to eat, how to think, and how to move to support stronger bones. Let me see. Chair. Oh, chair. Okay. Did it say chair? Oh, chair. Really, really cute chair. Why did I see hair? Probably because I didn't have glasses on. All right. Really? So interesting, the big TV. Well, I go back there. I just see my little screen. You still have fingernails? Yes. Fingernails is a gauge of mineral balance. You want to have strong fingernails. Michael, great. Oh, thank you. All right. Okay, so I am going to go because I've got some work to do with my programming that I'm creating for ladies. I say ladies because it's mostly ladies that I work with. Joan. Okay, 2021. Okay, so then Joan, if you're 2021, then your hip is good to go. I don't know if you've been told that. I have a hip replacement. And it also depends on your age and the quality of your diet, your gut health to make sure you're really creating strong bones internally. After 9 months to a year, the compact bone is totally formed. The compact bone starts forming around 3 months. So being a few years out like that, I'm wondering what your orthopedic surgeon tells you, but that could be in a really good place to let go of fear and protection and to start pulling and pushing again to create strength. And typically a fracture, once it's healed, is actually stronger than the bones are when they're before that. So hopefully that's the case. HRT, yes. Okay, now when you say Actonel, unfortunately, I don't know anything about you. I don't know your age, your lifestyle, your gut health. Are you digesting, absorbing your nutrients? I don't know all of that stuff. But those are all choices, right? So HRT, yes. BHRT, bioidentical hormone replacement, yes, yes, yes. And then in terms of medication, that's a choice and or something your physician tells you. And if you get a REMS, you could get a real interpretation from orthopedic surgeons, Nick Birch, Dr. Bush, and they can give you more recommendations on, do you really need that? Because that's a standard protocol, but not necessarily what we all need to do. That's what Western conventional medicine does. And there's a lot that needs to be desired in that world. So I recommend you go to my website there, Debbie Robinson, listen to my podcasts, join us in our community or in my master classes or something, and learn as much as you can because you have so much more control than you realize. All right, I'm going to go. Really nice to meet you. Hope to see you again. And do your best, leave the rest. Your bones are judgmental and present moment. So this is not just something you do for 1 hour with me. Stand on one leg, do all you can every day to create stronger bones. All right, bye.